What's up guys, M20 here, and today I want to talk a little bit about Dota Auto Chess, a custom game which came out quite recently. As usual, this guide is not going to cover everything and won't touch on the basics on how to actually play the game mode. Rather, hopefully I can provide some tips for people who have already played a couple of games. Let's get right into it. If you've already played a few games of auto chess, you would know both their economy or how much gold you have, and secondly the different units you can get because of this are the two most important factors in this game mode. That's why I wanted to go over both of them in this section. Let's start by talking about economy. In auto chess, you gain economy in 4 different ways. A general round bonus of 5, excluding the first few rounds, a win bonus of 1, interest and streaks, the most important ones here of which are interest and streaks. Interest is distributed as 10% of your current economy after the round is finished, and is applied following your win bonus. Therefore, if you ended the round on 10 coins, you would end up gaining an extra 1 coin in interest. This applies up until 50 coins, therefore the maximum interest you can get is 5 coins. In comparison, you also gain gold from either winning or losing streaks, up to 3 coins each way. Managing your gold appropriately to maintain a streak is really important and can allow you to snowball against other players. Toward the beginning of the game, injecting your gold into early levels and units is important to maintain control. However, there comes a time when maintaining a high interest level is important if the other players start catching up to you and you lose your streak. In the early game, your best bet is to utilize your money and avoid saving until you have a solid win streak going for you. Invest in upgrading and buying higher level units to get those early wins. Additionally, ensure you keep up level wise with the others. You gain 4 experience per 5 gold spent, meaning it will only take you 1 level purchase from 4 to 5, and 2 to get from 5 to 6, with experience per level doubling progressively. In the early game, try to refrain from re-rolling unless you are certain you can get a level 2 unit, which is needed to keep your streak alive. I've definitely re-rolled out of frustration due to terrible RNG, but most of the time it isn't worth it and you'll end up getting nothing. Ultimately, just seek to use your gold in the most effective manner possible to maintain those early streaks and snowball. When the mid-game hits, you should have a pretty good idea of what you want your final team to look like. Therefore, feel free to re-roll to get the pieces you need, as these pieces will often be game winning once you get them. However, during the mid-game, it is important to maintain your interest level, so spend your gold wisely. If you can maintain a 50 gold blanket once all your units are level 2, each round you can simply re-roll or level up until you hit that 50 gold. At this point, you should be able to hit this 50 gold until the end of the game, gradually upgrading your units and leveling up until you hit level 10, maximum level. That being said, your win streak still remains the most important thing to maintain. Imagine you're on a win streak but end up losing the next round due to you wanting to maintain a 50 gold interest. In doing so, you could lose out on a total of 15 gold over the next 5 rounds, assuming you get 3 gold each round for your streak. Therefore, simply hoarding your gold is pointless if you're winning, as taking a loss will require you another 5 rounds to regain that streak. Therefore, although you should keep interest in mind, playing reactive is important. Re-rolling or spending a lot of gold to level up may actually be the right move. On to the second most important aspect of auto chess, the unit combinations. Although only so much can be said with constant balance patches coming to the game, the units you choose each game are extremely important. Once again, it is important to play reactively, depending on what your opponents are doing. Each unit you choose comes out of a shared pool with the other members of the match, with the likelihood of getting various units dependent on both the unit's level or rarity and your own level. Simply, you will be more likely to roll for a higher rarity units as you level up. Let's start by looking over the early game. You are at no detriment to sell back any of your non-upgraded units. Therefore, you should never have your strategy set in stone by turn 1. Maybe on the first turn you end up choosing a clockwork, only on the following turn to roll 5 druids. Buying pieces just to keep your options open is important, as you never know when you may pull something rare early on, which may leave you wishing you took a different direction. Therefore, be reactive. If a better opportunity presents itself, take it. The same applies here to your opponents. If you see everyone on the board building goblin mechs, a really strong early game combination, you may want to take a different direction. Once again, thinking about the shared pool. Maybe getting a board full of knights is better for you in the long run. When choosing pieces, you should always prioritize the capacity to upgrade your units in most instances. above having your soul set on a specific class. For instance, consider the Dragon class. Whilst picking up a Dragon Knight, Viper and Puck level 1 can give you access to one of the strongest traits in the game, 100% mana at the beginning of the round. If they are unable to stay alive, there is no point. The same can apply in regards to the type of unit you choose. Although you may prioritise finding a DK to finish your Dragon lineup, passing up on a Tide Hunter or Kunkka may be a poor decision considering crowd control they provide. A single level 1 unit, such as the Tide, can have a greater benefit than a level 2 Drow Ranger per se, purely on his ability, Ravage. Therefore, although you should prioritise upgrading your units, adapting to what the game gives you in terms of the combinations and units is still important. Everything at the end of the day is situational. At the beginning of the game, you're probably going to go down a few different routes, depending on what you get. Mech or Goblin, Warrior, Druid or Knight, to name a few. However, as you begin to progress, you can begin to integrate more powerful class combinations such as Elf, Dragon or Warlock. I don't have the time to go over all the classes, so I'll put a link to a nice infographic detailing all of these in the description, if you're not familiar. Your endgame combination should be determined mid-game and should be something you work towards. There are so many different combinations and this will change depending on the time you're watching this video. That being said, a good endgame team could be something like all 4 Druids, Anti-Mage, Luna, Templar Assassin, Phantom Assassin, Slug, and then some crowd control such as Tide Hunter. This team draws off Beast, Elf and Assassin synergies. Unfortunately, I don't know everything about the game, so I suggest if you do want to do some more research on the best teams at the current point in time, check Reddit or watch some pro games if available. Now that I've gone over the 2 main components of this game mode, I want to talk briefly on some other more specialised tips. The first tip I have involves checking on your opponents. You're able to see your opponent's current economy by checking their mana pool. This is important to ensure you're not falling too far behind. The same can be said for their level, which is displayed next to their name. Also make sure to look over their units to adapt to what they're picking up. This can help you plan what units you want to 3-star. To help you do this, you can actually press tab to cycle through boards. The next tip I have involves positioning. When you get down to the final few opponents, positioning can be quite important. For instance, if they're running a full team of assassins, boxing your unit into a corner can be ideal to prevent them from getting behind to your damage dealers. In this instance, it's also advisable to position one of your tankier units at the back to help soak up the damage. Each team should have a front line full of tanks, or those who need mana simply for one spell, and a backline of damage dealers plus whatever assassins you have. Positioning is also really important on wave 15, where you need to deal with the wolves. Too many times I'll forget about this round and I will lose or come close to it. The wolves are assassins and will jump behind your units, so plan appropriately on round 15. The final thing I wanted to touch on was about items, which leads on from my last point about the wolves. Items drop from neutral creeps killed on rounds 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15 and so on. The basic items dropped can combine to form more powerful ones, provided you have all the components, just like in Dota. Although most who play the main game will probably already know about this, but you can left click on your item and then click show combinations to check what each vanilla item builds into. You're also able to drop your items or lock them from combining, which is especially important if one item can build into multiple others. I'll provide a list of all the possible combinations in the description if you want to check that out. Well, that's pretty much all I can think of when it comes to auto chess, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to click that like button and subscribe if you're new around here. If you want to learn a little bit more about the game, I highly suggest you check out the Reddit, as the game is continually evolving every day. Anyway, thanks for watching and feel free to check out another one of my videos if you're new around here.